I've had just about enough of people bashing 9 to 5. Every so-called expert on TV, on the internet, everybody wants to tell you how miserable it is to be working 9 to 5. Are you kidding me? So if you happen to work 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or 8 to 5 or whatever shift you might work, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to prove to you how you can thrive working 9 to 5. Hi. My name is Jessica. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I upload a new video every Thursday. I went from zero to over $1 million in net worth in less than 8 years. And the intent of this channel is to share my journey to financial independence with the hopes that you might be able to learn from it as well. Now let's talk about 9 to 5. Why do people love to bash and even demonize 9 to 5? Now let's get clear first on what does it mean. What does 9 to 5 mean? 9 to 5 is somehow made synonymous with being an employee. When the term 9 to 5 is used in our culture, it just means you're working for somebody else. You're an employee. So being an employee and 9 to 5 are used pretty much interchangeably. Being an employee is packaged in this 9 to 5 rat race where not only you're miserable in what you do, but you hate your boss is so mean, your coworkers are so mean, you're broke, you're not making enough money, you're chained to a desk, and so on and so on. And of course, nobody wants to live that kind of life. Now, what is the solution that's offered in the rhetoric that you hear everywhere? The solution is working for yourself. It's everything that being an employee is not, where being an employee, you're doing some soul-sucking work every single day, you're waking up early in the morning, and you're just doing all of the things that you don't want to do. And the opposite of that is owning your own business, being your own boss. These are the things that, these are the terms that are thrown out in the media. You're being your own boss. You're taking all the time you want. You wake up when you want to wake up. You take lots of vacation versus the poor employee who only gets 2 or 3 weeks off. You have nobody to report to. There's no mean boss. There's no mean colleagues. Life is just rosy. Well, it sounds so sexy. Who wouldn't want that? But what does this really mean? Is it really that black and white? Are we saying that you either miserably work for somebody else and feel like a prisoner, have soul-sucking work, or you work for yourself and have your own company and happily work for yourself, doing what you want, when you want it, and how you want it? And are we saying that one keeps you broke and poor, the other makes you rich? Doesn't this all sound too black and white? It's just completely either or mentality. It just boggles my mind every time I hear it. It's a dangerously simplistic way of viewing life, this either or mentality. You cannot possibly put all of employee type jobs into this big nasty bucket of what's referred to as 9 to 5. There are some great jobs out there. Of course, there are some not so good jobs out there, and not so good jobs just mean they're not right for you. And just like we can't put this entrepreneurship or owning a business into this one big, beautiful, sexy bucket. Have you talked to any entrepreneurs? Talk to any business owner, talk to any entrepreneur. And if you happen to be one, you know what I'm talking about. Entrepreneurs work ridiculous amount of hours to be successful. They do it because they're passionate about what they do. It's their business. In order for them to get their business off the ground, it doesn't matter what type of business it is. It needs all of their attention. They are not out there vacationing. They're certainly not working 9 to 5. I assure you of that. They're waking up wee hours of the morning. They're working well into the nights. They're working weekends. They're working 7 days a week. Their mind is always on their business. So even if they happen to be not working, their mind is always looking for ideas. They're always looking for ways to expand. They're solving problems. It's a 24/7 deal. And let's talk about this being your own boss thing. Yes, technically you don't have a boss, but you know what? When you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, customer is your boss. Customer is your biggest and most demanding boss, because if you don't do what is required by your customer, if you don't make your customer happy time and time again, it's not just a one-time deal. So if you happen to be in a business which most businesses are, you want repeat business, your last interaction with your customer, your business depends on that. It's always about, what have you done for me lately? So you have to constantly make sure you're fulfilling your customers' needs and making your customers happy, because that's where your paycheck comes from. It doesn't come from some company where it doesn't matter what you do day in and day out, you're going to get paid like clockworks. As an entrepreneur, that's not the case. And there's no sick day for an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter how you're feeling. It's not the matter of waking up in the morning, oh, I'm not feeling so well, I'm just gonna call in sick. None of that. Talk to any business owner, and like I said, if you're a business owner, you know what this feels like. Being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everybody. It's an amazing thing. And there are some people, they're brilliant at it. This is what they want to do, and this is their passion. So they do all of this, everything that I just said. They work ridiculous hours. They do what it takes. They don't take vacations. They don't get a sick day. They do all of this because they are after a greater purpose. They have a vision. They want to make that come true. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing. But the purpose of this video is that being an employee and being an entrepreneur, those two don't have to be mutually exclusive. You don't have to demonize one in favor of the other. Both of them have their place in the world. Not only both of them have their place in the world, we have to have both of those. We have to have people who want to be employees. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that just because you don't want to be an entrepreneur, just because you don't want to own your own business, you're just going to live a miserable, broke life. That's the part that really gets to me, because everywhere I hear, it's always about this or that. You are either happy and wealthy and owning your business, or you're a miserable, broke employee. We really have to get away from this black and white thinking. If being an entrepreneur is portrayed as happy, wealthy, and free, and then does that mean being an employee means you're sad, broke, and a prisoner? No. I'm here to tell you, if owning a business is not your thing, if you feel like, okay, I should start a business, everybody keeps telling me I should start a business, but you have no desire or no passion for starting a business, or you don't necessarily really have an idea on what to do, or you've never even thought about it, and you're quite happy working your job and whatever it is that you do for a living, you can still be financially free. You can still live a happy, fulfilling, financially free life. The only caveat is that you have to make sure that you're working in the right field and you're not doing something that you're miserable doing. For example, like if you hate to cook, don't be a chef, right? That kind of goes without saying. So if you are in a field where you feel like you've been forced into it, maybe years ago your parents made you go into a particular field of study that doesn't really float your boat, I mean, that's a different story. You can always change that. That doesn't have anything to do with being an employee. That just means the line of work that you're in does not fulfill who you are. That's where you have to do some thinking and some soul searching and see, okay, what is it that I love to do? So if you are an accountant, but you really want to cook, then those are two very different things. Doesn't mean you have to go open a restaurant. You can learn how to cook. You can do the work that makes you happy. In other words, in this case, it's the process of cooking. You can do that for somebody else. And, if somewhere down the road you feel like you want to start a business, you can always do that. But it's just this notion of you have to have this, you have to have a business in order to be happy. That's the piece that I want to dispel here, because I think it's not doing anybody any service, because people are putting this unnecessary pressure on themselves, listening to so-and-so on TV or watching so-and-so on Instagram, and thinking that this is what they have to do because this is the expected thing if you want to be living a happy and financially independent life. So that's the piece that I really want to address here. So how can you be successful as an employee working for another company? That's really the crux of this video. How can you be successful financially? How can you be successful overall if you don't own your business? Now, think of an entrepreneur, what an entrepreneur does and how they think. You can do the same thing and be an intrapreneur. You can work for a company, do all of the same things that an entrepreneur does in terms of how they behave and how they go after what they want to do. In other words, their perspective on things, their behavior and their action, how they go about their business. So first of all, entrepreneur is somebody who owns their own business, right? They own and operate their own business, and they take all of the financial risk, which gets them freedom, I suppose. Where they can do whatever they want. They don't have to listen to a boss or a company. But there are so many things an entrepreneur does to be successful. It's not just enough to open up a shop, right? It's not just enough to open a business. They have to think. You know of some entrepreneurs, I'm sure, in your life, business owners. They have to be creative and innovative. They have to provide good service. They have to solve problems. That's really the bottom line, right? You're either providing good service in whatever sector, or you are solving big problems. And you can do all of that as an intrapreneur. So the difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur, so as an intrapreneur, you're doing all of the same things, but you're working for a company. So you can be creative and innovative and solve problems and look at your job from a different perspective on how you can help grow the company from your job. It doesn't matter what your job is. And minus all of the financial risk. Hello. I mean, that to me, that's the best of all worlds. And depending on what job you have right now, and depending on where you are or what your history has been with the company, of course, some of these things take time and they take building trust. So for you to go in and provide some suggestions and things like that on improving things, and that would really depend how well they're taken or how quickly they're taken, your suggestions. That would depend on many things. It depends on what you've been doing up until now and kind of where you are on the food chain, if you will. But regardless of all of that, doesn't matter where you are, you can begin today or start putting all of these things into practice. The moment you start thinking about your job like this, you start thinking about that company as your own. In my job now, however small or big that might be, how can I improve? What processes can I improve today? It doesn't mean, you have to go tomorrow and find the president and give them some suggestions. This is where people go wrong. You have to become the best you can at your current job. You have to do everything that you can to improve and expand where you are now. Right? Bloom where you're planted. I'm sure there are thousands of things you can do in your job now to improve and think like a business owner, think like a company representative. How can you improve processes? How can you improve costs for the company? And what are some ideas that will help your coworkers, that will help your boss now, and so on and so forth. Being an employee gives you so many benefits. I can think of 4 or 5 just off the top of my head. Number 1, it provides you with a structure. I think it's a highly underestimated thing to have structure in your life. There are a couple of times in my life where I've taken some time off to try different things, and I'm telling you, having a routine, having a structure in my day, I missed that sorely. So it provides you structure, it provides you a routine for your day, it provides you a place to create, to contribute, to give back, to help others grow. Which brings me to my second point. It gives you the opportunity to grow. It gives you the opportunity to learn. Just think about all of the things that you've learned in your job or any job that you've held throughout your life. It provides you this petri dish. It provides you like a little lab where you can really practice things. Like, for example, if you read a great book on leadership or people, the very next day you can go in there and practice some of the things that you learn. So it provides you incredible opportunities to grow and learn other parts of the business that might not even be your core job. All you have to do is do a good job in what you're doing now and show interest in other areas. And most of the times people are more than happy and willing to let you dip your toes in other parts of the business. Number 3, it gives you an opportunity to earn a lot of money. And now this is where, unfortunately, some people are cynical. And, just because you might not be making a lot of money now, but if you do all of these things that we've been talking about, your company will not be able to help itself but to give you more money. And you will grow if that's what you want to do, and grow and learn and expand and earn more money, earn more salary, potentially earn bonuses, and so on and so forth. You are becoming more and more marketable. You can make a lot of money. And this doesn't mean just going up the corporate ladder and, going all the way up to president or CEO. Unless you wanted to do that, that's always an opportunity as well. But just doing the work that you're doing and specializing, doing well, you can make a lot of money. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you can invest that money and grow that money. And so number 4 is tied with number 5, which is freedom of time. So let me speak about those two. I think those are the biggest benefits of being an employee. So you make all of this money, and you have to learn how to manage your money so you're not blowing it every paycheck that you get. So you get all of this money through your paycheck, and you're going to continue to earn more and more. Learn how to invest that money, whether it's in the stock market or the real estate market. So which is where the final point comes in, freedom. You have a lot of freedom because when you're done your job at the end of the day, you're done for the most part, for most employees. And obviously that's different from senior type of positions where it's a little bit more involved. But for the most part, as an employee, you have your time in the evenings, you have your time on the weekends or whatever days off you get. That time, you can spend that time however you want. You can research different things. You can invest money in the stock market. You can learn how to do that. You can learn how to manage your money. You can learn through just watching videos like this. And, or you can buy rental properties or do other things that are helping you grow your portfolio. And not only that, it helps you just have a life. I mean, you can pursue other interests. If you like to play music, if you like to cook, if you want to spend time with your kids and your friends and so on, it just gives you the opportunity to have a life outside of work. So when you live a fulfilling life, because remember, work is just part of life. That's true for everybody, entrepreneurs too. But that's not always feasible for entrepreneurs. But work is just part of our life. It's not our whole life. So you have this freedom of time and freedom of mind to go and pursue things that you want to do. If that means, you want to become healthy and you exercise and do all sorts of things. And there's just so much being an employee can offer you. And it really bothers me when it's just demonized the way it is. And like I said, I know that there are some people who are in really, really bad situations at work. So I'm not talking about that because, like I said, I think you have to be in a type of a job that you enjoy. And if you are in a job where you don't enjoy, I think that's a different conversation you need to think about. So, okay, I think I've said what I needed to say. I think it's really a disservice to employees, to companies, when people put 9 to 5 in this dark light. So that is all for today. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Tell me, are you an employee or are you a business owner? If you're a business owner, tell me how many hours you work. Tell me what are some of the things that you do? What are your challenges? If you're an employee, do leave a comment down below. Tell me what are some of the benefits that you find of being an employee versus being a business owner. Thank you again for watching. I will see you next week. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'll see you next week.